Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Awaken to Earth's Call, Conscious Living for a Thriving Future with CEO and co-founder of Humanities Team, Steve Farrell. Hi, Steve.
Good morning, Charissa. Yeah, and good day, everybody, and happy Earth Day. Happy Earth Day.
Yes, happy Earth Day to you and to everyone watching. We're so grateful that you're here to celebrate this special day with us. I'm Charissa Sims, live event host with Humanities Team. And during today's program, we will discuss some powerful principles of conscious living, revealing how we can each unlock our own potential and create positive change in the world. Whether you're new on this path or already on your own conscious journey, today's session will provide valuable insights you can begin applying right away. And we even have a challenge to go with it, a 21-day challenge we're launching. So make sure to be on the lookout for that link wherever you're watching. And we're just in for incredibly inspiring session as we dive into the transformative power of conscious living on Earth Day. So, as I said, Steve Farrell is the co-founder of Humanities Team, a global leader in the movement towards creating a more awakened, unified world. And let me share a little bit about Steve. As the co founder and worldwide executive director of Humanities Team, a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Boulder, Colorado, the organization is focused on helping people throughout the world awaken to their deeper self and the interconnectedness of everything in the universe, the oneness, as he says. Steve recently published his acclaimed memoir, A New Universal Dream: My Journey from Silicon Valley to a Life in Service to Humanity, an inspiring story of finding his true life's calling and the lessons he gathered along the way. And I've read the book, and it's just incredible. I would say it's like a handbook for living your best life. So grateful to have you here today, Steve.
Charissa, thank you so much for being here, for being our host, and for that generous introduction. And whoa, I'm looking forward to our program together in Earth Day 2025. What a big celebration day, huh?
I know, it's so exciting. So, because today is Earth Day, a moment when millions around the world reflect on our connection with the Earth, what did you do to celebrate Earth Day? What was the first thing you did? I know we're doing this incredible interview and sharing, but how was your day?
Yeah, so as we were sharing, just coming on, of course, it's gorgeous here in Boulder, and you and I live in Boulder, Colorado, and Jim Gray, who's doing the program here with us, also lives in Boulder, or just outside of Boulder, and we were sharing what a gorgeous day it is. A lot of people know that the thing that I love to do every morning, unless there's black ice or tons of snow, is I bike ride out to Wonderland Lake. It's called Wonderland Lake. It's about a mile and a half from my home, and it's a little wildlife refuge. There's ducks and geese and things, and sometimes other wildlife. There were deer there this morning. So I bike out there, and there's a little peninsula that goes into the lake where I just stop and sort of take it all in and close my eyes and connect with this beautiful nature. And boy, as I was out there, I was just thinking, God, nature is like the cathedral. I grew up in the Catholic Church, as you know, and churches have lots of beautiful cathedrals, but nothing rivals the nature cathedral. Just being outside, feeling your connection, seeing the beauty, coming into this place of quiet and peace. These are a few things that I feel, and so much more. And I thought, wow, on Earth Day, isn't this a special day? So that's how I started my day, Carissa. Thanks for asking.
That's so beautiful and healthy that you're riding your bike, but also that you take the time to connect with nature and feel and experience that interconnectedness and that oneness. That's so beautiful that you saw deer also. Did you connect with the deer?
Yeah, in fact, a couple of weeks ago, I saw something for the very first time. I've been out to the lake. Oh my gosh, I had a sweet dog of our family had a dog named Sadie, and I would run her out there for years and years and years. And so I've been out to Wonderland Lake. I was thinking it must be 3 or 4 thousand times. Uh, that many times.
Wow.
I've been out there a lot of times, maybe more than anybody in North Boulder. And there was a herd of deer that walked down into the water there on one side, and they were all just walking along the banks about maybe a foot and a half high. And I thought, wow, this is the neatest thing. So there were a couple of deer just walking along the peninsula there this morning, but that was a treat to see this. And I was thinking, maybe one of these deer had been a part of something like this that had led her or him through in previous years, and now it was leading these others through. Quite a sight to see.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I've been to Wonderland Lake, so I know the deep and beautiful cathedral of nature that you're talking about. And I would say deer is also not as common. I mean, right? I mean, there's bunnies, and a lot of times because there's so many people, the deer don't come. So I think that was special for you.
Yeah, yeah, deer are not out there every day. Kind of a rare sighting. Even more rare are coyotes and bear, which when you go out there thousands of times, you'll see them occasionally too.
Yes, yes. That's so beautiful to hear that story of the deer. Well, in your opinion, what is the deeper spiritual meaning of Earth Day, especially for those working on a conscious path?
Yeah, such a great question this year, in particular, every year, but this year with where I'm going to call it navigating chaos, right? As we're sharing in humanities team, there's just so much going on that is so challenging. And of course, Earth Day was created so that we would see that the Earth is more than just a bunch of soil and rocks, right? It's so much more. And just on one level, it's our planet home, right? And it's the only home that we have. I don't think many of us are going to go to Mars, nor do we want to, or some other planet. This is really our home planet. And as we know, we've fouled this nest, right? Um, there are so many things we could talk about. We've got a couple of wars going on in the Middle East and in the Ukraine. We've got the science of climate change, which is now being thrown out. Um, People like Bruce Lipton talk about the ecosystems of the Earth and share we need 1.6 Earths right now to provide the resources to support the 8 billion people living on the planet. So we're not really paying attention here. And so the first thing I would share as we are celebrating Earth Day in 2025 is are we hearing the call of the Earth as it calls out? Because it is calling out. And I think we may have cognitive dissonance where we sort of bat it away, of, well, what could I do anyway? Right. Where we just sort of bat away, yeah, I know these things are going on, but what can one person do anyway? So that's one thing that I would bring in is just this is a sacred planet. It's our home. It's our only home. Kids and babies live on this planet today that are depending on this home for future generations. And then you've brought in, of course, in Humanities Team, 22 years ago, we launched Humanities Team in Wilsonville, Oregon, right? And we talked about awakening oneness. You've been bringing in, Charissa, the oneness. And so on a deeper level, and this is what I get to, like when I'm out at Wonderland Lake this morning, or for that matter, any day when I'm out on my porch or in nature, is just the I was thinking this morning, what are the words I could put to this? It's like there's a spiritual current, almost like an electricity, this interconnection thing, but it's deeply spiritual and it's deeply connective, and where you feel that nature. where you feel that wind, that breeze, that water, that wildlife, where you feel your connection to it, I'm going to even use the word cherish, feel this sort of cherished relationship with this oneness, where it's not something that is a logic center of my mind thing. It's not something I think about so much as it's something I feel. I feel that connection there. So on a deeper level, even beyond just planet as our home, this planet is part of the one, that we're living in a body, right? And of course, we have all these master classes on our streaming platform and Global Oneness Day and these things that bring in that, and of course, the quantum physics now that brings in the science that says, yep, as we often share, the Albert Einstein quote, the greatest illusion in the world. It's the illusion of separation. Our eyes deceive us because down when we get into quantum physics, and protons, electrons, etc., we can see everything is deeply, deeply interconnected. It's a vibrational universe, right? And so living into that or experiencing that oneness with nature, um, here's the part of the cathedral thing of it's not a thinking thing so much as it's a deep feeling thing of this just this beautiful meditation and prayer all at once, where you're feeling into this connection with this beautiful nature. And that is, as we know, the oneness is everlasting. So it's not just some momentary thing that we're feeling into that just has its moment. We're actually feeling into the infinity of life that's here now and always, but we're not tuned in. I'll stop there because I don't want to go on too long.
Well, you're inspired, so it's like what you're saying is just a beautiful flow of consciousness, and it's inspiring me, and I'm sure our audience as well. And I know what you're talking about. I know that field. And when I'm walking my dog, I definitely connect with it. For me, it's the birds and the trees. And today, because I was like, oh, it's your special day, trees. And I just felt their energy lift and the leaves shaking a little bit harder, like, hi, yes, it's our day. And when we see that beauty in nature, the oneness is we can't see that beauty unless it's also within us. So it is a reflection of our inner beauty when we can notice and appreciate that beauty within nature. What do you think?
Beautiful. I love that because as we sort of unfold this whole conscious living thing, as we know, and as you're sharing here, Charissa, it is an inside out job we share, right? So it's coming back to us. So we're now finding our place in this oneness of our own beauty, our own blessing, the infinite love, right? There is one body. And of course, where there's one body, there's love that is to infinity for each part of the body, for ourselves, and to let that in. And yeah, we all grew up and we all were immature. We've all made, our mistakes and stuff, but we're beautiful parts of the whole of the one. We are daughters and sons of the Most High. We are that, and letting that in and really experiencing that, and just really letting the fullness of that in, so that your heart is full. Then and only then can this overflowing thing happen where with our neighbor, with our partner, with our kids, etc., where they are feeling just this overflow. You're expressing it, you're embodying it. You yourself are an expression of it, and then you're all that we can do when we're an expression of it is we just are expressing it everywhere we go. We're not trying to necessarily touch anybody. We're just simply our being state. And people feel that being state. These ripples then go out into the world. Um, and that's what creates beautiful homes, beautiful workplaces, and a beautiful world. So, yes, just as you said, it starts with coming back to ourselves, this inside out thing. It starts with the inner transformation. And the inner transformation is where we really, where that moment comes and that then we retain of, wow, I really am the scientist. I really am sovereign of the universe, Nassim Haramein, right? Or uh, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, where he talks about this um, this infinity or the convergence of all things. He calls it the omega point, that we're evolving into an omega point where everything knows fully and completely that it is a part of the one. There's a convergence. Everything understands, embodies, and expresses that's a part of the one. And of course, that's the work of Humanities Team, where we're unfolding that, all of us together, right, with our programs and our master classes and Global Oneness Day. And this program is on Earth Day 2025.
Yes, and we have also a live in-person event to connect with our community in Fort Collins, Colorado, Sacred Awakening Live. So if you haven't heard of that yet, you want to look that up on our website. So that would be amazing to see you all in person, and Steve will be there hosting. But I just loved what you said, Steve, about connecting with that energy and the omega point. So, when I think of the earth, I think of Mother Earth. I think of Mother Gaia, the divine feminine, and that energy coming in. And when we appreciate Mother Earth, we are actually connecting with the feminine side of ourselves that is in each and every one of us. What do you think about that energy of the divine feminine and connecting with the earth?
Yeah, that's what I feel too, Carissa.
Mm,
I do. And of course, the indigenous have carried this story over the infinity of time, that
yeah,
Mother,
good point.
right, that is here, that blesses us. And it is a divine feminine. It's this nurturing energy. It's this energy of supporting life, of putting life first, of that's the highest priority. And in fact, if we create a priority ladder, it's the top 10 priorities all at once, right? Is affirming life, supporting life, nurturing life. It's a very divine feminine thing. And oh my God, today, again, coming back to the context of today, the navigating chaos thing with all of what's going on around us, including what we're thinking about our planet, whether we want to continue to see the science of climate change and the science of ecosystems that are supporting the earth and so on. This is really crucial that this is not the time to just say, well, we got a bunch of dirt and rocks here, and let's this is a beautiful warehouse, boy. Let's just harvest these resources, right? This is not the time to do that. That on so many levels, we are making a huge mistake, and the biggest uh, mistake that comes out of that is kids being born onto this planet or depending on a survivable planet, right? And as we know, we have these um, documentaries out now. Our Planet, this big award-winning documentary on Netflix, and there's 6 or 7 episodes, and the last episode is rather troubling. My family watched it together,
Hmm.
as we're heading straight toward the sixth great mass extinction right now, and we're intelligent mammals, and so we can still, there's plenty of time still to U-turn, to live in a different way with a lighter footprint on the planet. Uh, but we need to do that, and this is where the divine feminine comes in. That's what divine feminine is. It's loving, it's nurturing, it's caring, it's seeing. Its awareness is very keen. It's seeing what is so, and it's not afraid to act. And so it's acting, and creating a lighter footprint, and doing so in a loving way without sharp elbows, right? This is all the divine feminine. And of course, as you often speak about this too, Carissa, divine feminine means that's for me too. It's for all of the 8 billion people, right? That the beautiful combination is divine masculine and divine feminine coming into this harmony that for each person. And I'll just say for men, as I was going through my own awakening there in Silicon Valley in the 90s, it can be a little challenging where you're really letting in the fullness of divine feminine because it's kind of an alpha male place there. And I was in that VC community and these communities where alpha male was pretty big. And yet I was getting over and over again, Steve, there is a part of you that you need to embody and express that you're not giving uh, yourself to fully.
Mm,
You embody your truth, Steve. Embody your truth. Okay, even
mm.
if it's socially not so cool. The thing that's important is embodying your truth. So I'll leave it there. But yes, the divine feminine is really important.
Yeah, that's so beautiful that you tied in a little bit of your story. And so, do you think when you start to embody your truth, you start to recognize that we are part of Mother Earth and can start to take steps? Do you feel hopeful that we can take this U-turn?
Absolutely, I do. Yeah, there's no way you would send down through the history of time. We won't name them all: Jesus, Buddha, Abraham, Moses, Joseph Smith, Gandhi, Mandela. Okay, there's no way you're going to send all of these people that created all of this dramatic change, that with these awakening experiences, these conscious experiences, and then at the end we just kind of fall off a cliff. Oh darn. No, don't
Oh,
believe
sorry.
that. I do not believe that. I believe just like right now, it's really important. I was thinking, Carissa, coming onto this program, how important this moment is, and just thinking, boy, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, people might dismiss this program we're doing right now as, oh, it's kind of cute. You know, yeah, I got to tune in for a few minutes. I hope viewers that it doesn't feel like that, that it's a cute, couple of moments. It is not that. This is really our moment. As we know, politics and business and so on, they will not take us there. This place that we're talking about, this conscious living place, that we will take us there. We will be the change that we want to see in the world. We will elevate our consciousness. We will do the work and understand the science that mystics have been sharing for ages. Yes, it's true. We are all one, right? And that we will start embodying and expressing that. That's really what is so important right now, that we really see it not only as important. And when we started Humanities Team 22 years ago, that was the focus. We were saying it's important. We weren't necessarily saying it was urgent then. In 2003, we were not saying this is urgent. We need to do this now. Here in 2025, it's important and it's urgent. And I would bet, people probably have had experiences like me. I've used this term cognitive dissonance until my own awakening and my own unfolding into living consciously. I had a lot of cognitive dissonance of Steve, pay attention. Steve, people have heard the story where I threw out my day planner because I was so transactional, with people. And with Steve, you're very transactional. That's not really allowing much of a conscious environment to be created. Throw out that day planner. By the way, I like to share, this is not aimed at other people. A lot of people can have day planners. It works great. They conscious and so on. This was just me, where I was like way, way too transactional. And I needed to just sort of peel that away, that I can't be transactional anymore.
Right, right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the day planners have inspiration and they can be really helpful for people. But I feel your passion is this why you wanted to start a 21-day conscious living challenge? Like what inspired you to start this challenge that's launching today?
Yeah, well, first, let me give credit where credit is due. Carissa, you,
Okay.
Meyer, and Andy Guski and Kieran Watson. I work with a
Oh,
beautiful
beautiful.
team. And so, yeah, this was not, if people think humanities team, oh, Steve is, he's got all the ideas and all this stuff. Wrong. I don't. This is a family, and it's a family that's very creative and it's very energetic, very productive, and it's a loving family. I'll even use that term too. And so this was dreamed up inside of humanities team. And I just looked at it and said, "Oh my God, I love this! I love this 21-day challenge because what the 21-day challenge does is it's coming down into just 2-minute moments for 21 days. The first day is today. So please do sign up. You'll love these 2-minute moments that go for 21 days. And what we do is we do exercises that bring us down into this conscious state. So, you perhaps have some daily practices that do that for you. We've got 21 where we're going to go down into real being states. And they're all different. They're all different dimensions of what conscious living is so that we can really just experience something. And I'll bet that you'll find some tools there in the 21 different tools that we bring that you'll say, wow, I'm going to keep doing this one. I'll bet there are a lot of tools like that. So, yeah, very, very exciting that Earth Day launches our 21-day challenge. And we even have some surprises on the back end of the 21 days.
Oh, that's exciting. I can't wait. I can't wait to do this myself, because just taking the time, 2 minutes a day to honor yourself and to connect with that intention of living more consciously, I think will really help the earth, and so it'll be an Earth Day present for the earth and for humanity.
Definitely. Yeah. And then, as you know, too, boy, once we get into, I'm using this term unfolding, right? And as we deepen into this conscious living thing with our connection to the earth, to each other, to the divine, the source of all that is, oh my gosh, it is just extraordinary in terms of how that changes your life. And now with all this chaos around us in the world, it's a beautiful thing because we're not so much on that roller coaster, with all of the craziness going on. We can stay very sane and very balanced, very much at peace, even as these things are going on around us.
Yes, yes. And I love to do earthing. I love to put my bare feet on the ground and really connect to the core of the earth. And whenever I feel stressed or just don't have clarity, yeah, it feels so good. So, how does conscious living invite us into a more sacred, respectful, and reciprocal relationship with the earth?
Yeah, so that's good. I like those words,
Mhm.
respectful, reciprocal. I've used the word cherished relationship with the earth is we realize, our physical lives are really extraordinary moments. As we know, we work with the mediums and the near-death experience community. So this whole cycle of life is quite familiar, probably to a lot of people here. The
That
we know
life
on,
continues on. Yes.
yeah, continues on. There's a lifting of the veil, right? The resources available to us from the afterlife. Pope Francis is still here, the day after his passing. Here, he can feel people that feel him right now. So, but we're embodied now. So, and when we're embodied, this is our moment where uh, we get to express all of the things that we can't totally express when we're just a candle in the sun. Okay, let me explain. So, a candle in the sun, right? In the afterlife, as we know from again NDE community mediumship, etc., we're that's the whole context. It is all light and love, right? That we're embodied that now, and not physically, but in the afterlife where that's all there is. It's just a sun. We're a candle in the sun. Well, that's a pretty beautiful feeling. It might be nice to hang out there for a long time. But it's
Yeah,
some,
like Elton John song, Candle in the Wind. But we're a candle
yeah,
in the
there you
sun.
go. Right. Yeah. So, but there are times on this everlasting eternal journey where we say, I want to be not just in the sun, I want to be in the context of there's darkness around me too, right? I want to be where it isn't only just perfect light and perfect love. And so here we are, embodied now, where we have these things going around us, where it's quite challenging in today's world, where we need to step up and steward the earth, where we need to look at the division, um, or let me say it differently, where there's diversity, having differences of opinion is very normal, right? And healthy, actually, very healthy. Okay. But violent differences of opinion, okay, oh, not so good. That's not so good. That actually suggests that we maybe are a young species here on the earth, because that's not a mature thing where we have to be violent in expressing our diversity. So here, uh, on Earth Day and every day, we can just stay in this place of, uh, just like Martin Luther King said, that darkness can't heal darkness. He said only light can do that, right? So this is where we get to practice really our conscious living, this keeping that, not letting our candle go out, not getting triggered. It's not always easy. That's again why the 21-day challenge. One of them goes at this exactly. Is one of those challenges is, there's somebody honks their horn, somebody says something mean. How do you stay in that place of just not only um, forgiving them, if you will, but having an empathy and saying, I wonder maybe what's going on with this person that caused them to be triggered like that with me, and to actually go to compassion in this case. So these are our opportunities. And as we know, and as you've brought in song and love is all there is, right? I mean, if we want to really dumb this down, the the school, if you want to call it that, or the experience of life is really just, how well can we embody love? How loving can we be, really, with its fierce dimensions, which are the divine masculine, and then it's really loving, warm, nurturing dimensions, which are more divine feminine.
Yes, yeah, that's so beautiful. I was just reflecting on that and thinking about in my own life when I am aware in the moment if a judgment comes up, or that maybe I feel like I'm better or more spiritual or more awake than someone else. I sometimes get into that and I really have to release that. Just like you said, you came from this moment of compassion when if somebody was honking or whatever it might be in the external world. That is so healing, and it's so important to recognize the resistance within us, the unrest within us, and pay attention to that. And I think these daily practices are one way that we can do that.
Yeah, amen to that. And don't we all have these moments where of judgment, of division, of something, and but just releasing that, we're not here to judge, we're not here to bring in anything violent. Yes, diversity of thought. It's good to the wonderful thing about conscious living is we don't this isn't some new age bypass thing where we're just sort of sweeping under the rug things. We don't do that. There's no good that comes of that. You speak the truth always, actually. It's just that where we're living consciously, we speak the truth without having real sharp elbows. Okay, it doesn't go to violence ever. It's
Hmm.
actually thoughtful and kind, but it's still truthful. And of course, in our culture and humanities team, we all the time. You mentioned the Fort Collins event, so
Hmm.
we were planning a meeting on Mondays. We were all together there Monday. Boy, it's exciting. This big, Drake Center event, May 8th through May 10. May 11 is Mother's Day. Whoa, all of our top faculty are going to be there. Just extraordinary. Wow. So and check that out. Yeah, it's called Sacred Awakening Live. But so, and as you know, Carissa, during the planning, there were different thoughts. Well, we could, not have tables. We could have tables. We could have a sponsor, not have a sponsor. There are things that we have to talk out and work out. We have different thoughts about it, but it's a very thoughtful process. It's truthful, but there's not any meanness. There's no judgment. There's no sharp elbows, there's actually an appreciation for the
Mm,
diversity of thought that's coming in, because then when there's diversity of thought, then you usually are going to get to your best outcome, your best decisions. And we do this all the time in Humanities Team. I'm just giving one little small example
mhm.
yesterday.
Yeah.
That we do this all the time, where we and people are very respectful and thoughtful, and of course, just to bring this in, one of the things in oneness is you're always looking at the contributions that people are making, and you're grateful for, thank you, Carissa, for hosting the program, right, and these things. It makes it just a joy, really, where you create environments like this.
Mm. Yeah, that's wonderful. And I would say you and Dee and Jim and the leaders of Humanities Team have created a culture where other opinions are accepted and loved and it's okay. So it's really amazing to work for an organization, just FYI. that has created their own field of consciousness of caring and love and gratitude. So appreciate you. Well, you often say there's no separation in ultimate reality. Can you speak to how oneness applies to our relationship with nature and the planet?
Yeah, so let me bring in some more here, nature and the planet. So this embodiment, we kind of talked about it in some dimensions here already, but um, in this embodiment where we are physicalized, where we are here, and where we get to be with nature, in this really cherished way. You were talking about walking around barefoot, in
Mhm.
nature, which is so beautiful. Your question is about the earth, but I could bring in people too.
Yeah.
Uh, just the extraordinary diversity and beauty, I'll call it,
Mhm.
inner beauty, outer
Yeah.
beauty of people. Um,
Because we are part of the earth,
yeah.
sometimes that's the whole separation thing. We have to think about that.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's extraordinary. The inner and outer beauty of nature, of the planet, where we take off our shoes, of experiencing each other in a room. It's extraordinary. I mean, it just fills your heart to over the top. Um, this is part of what this conscious living thing is, and it's grounded in our daily practices and our rituals. It starts with just awareness. So I've brought in this term cognitive dissonance. Um, if I go back myself to the 90s, when as I was just starting my own journey, um, awareness is really where it started, where I was looking out my window at the earth and thinking, what I'm doing here is this is my second company that we'd started that was gone to 75 million in 2 years. Um,
It's pretty
we're,
fast.
we're
Feels
getting
fast.
this enormous growth, and just growing a staff like, just really feeding this engine of business growth. But it really didn't have any kind of uh, positive dimension in terms of supporting the earth, or communities or things. We were just getting a lot of business growth, top line growth that could turn into bottom line growth. Um, and it was here where I decided that this is destructive, where we are in an environment and in a business environment, and it doesn't have this conscious component that is about really supporting life, nurturing life, prioritizing life first, where it is instead just top and bottom line growth, and which leads to the old American dream stuff of fame and fortune and power over. It's destructive, I'll just say. That's what I decided in the 90s when I was living that life is this is not this planet is calling out. It needs our help. My awareness was kicking in. I was saying, okay, I'm going to pay attention to the cognitive dissonance. I am going to throw out my day planner. I am going to interact with people differently as a CEO. I am going to bring new kinds of things into my personal relationships with my partner and then later my kids and family and friends and so on. Awareness is where it starts, is just really paying attention instead of just rushing by, which is what I was doing before, just rushing by things to get something done. And then I get something more done the next day and more done the next day. And then I realize over a period of weeks and months, yeah, I've gotten a lot done. Uh, what I've gotten done, how important is that in the scheme of my life and this planet? And so this is where, and then from awareness, then come the practices where I start my daily practices of really consciously tuning in, communing with the divine and life around me, and creating affirmation kinds of statements and gratitude and all of these kinds of things. So it's an unfolding. It starts with just paying attention, and then it leads into these ways of living in the world that create these being states, which you and I've been coming back to, Carissa, which are just really beautiful, where all of this beauty is really, you could call it, you're holding it. You're just holding all of this beauty that's around you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks for sharing a bit of your own history too, and how it shifted your relationships and your life. And just for people watching today who feel like they're at a crossroads, what advice would you give them about answering the call of their higher self, even if it feels uncertain or too big?
Yeah, I would say that the before we embrace these kinds of practices, what we could notice is, transactional. Like I would say, how transactional maybe does your life feel now? Where you've got a checklist with your partner at work of, have you done da 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 da? And yeah, I'll do that. If you will, you do da 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 da. Transactional, right? How much I'll call it drudgery do you feel in your life of just, oh yeah, yep, I got to wash the dishes, I got to go to work today, I got to, how much drudgery is going on? um Victimhood, um to what extent do you kind of fall into these things of, man, am I a victim to this? Look at this, and this is what's happened to me now, where you're just sort of under a dark cloud. To what extent does that happen? Does it feel that way to you? So these are only a few of the kinds of things that I experienced before I really started my conscious practices, of where I would feel as a victim. I was on a roller coaster. It was transactional. There was a lot of drudgery. Now, where we just take these simple steps, I mentioned awareness and these things. Let me bring in one other thing, which is a staple to conscious living, is just the quieting of the world around you, and just going within. Okay, where you're going into the silence, and then you're going into within to your interior space, where it's really quiet, and where you're just allowing the voice, that still small voice, to be heard. That's our soul's calling, where we just allow it to express, and we hear that still small voice. And when if we then you're talking about, what do I suggest here? So if we then, in that within state, uh, affirm it, say, I hear you. I hear a loving voice. I will follow you. I will create a priority, a practice in my day to quiet myself, and to really hear this still small voice, and to be guided by it, and to be supported by it. So where sometimes people use the word surrender, a lot of people don't like the word surrender, because it's like, that sounds like I'm losing. It's not, it's more, you're opening our heart, we're saying, I
Yeah,
want more, we're
there's
saying,
a popular book called The Surrender Experiment.
right. Yeah, where we begin this process of going within, of saying, of opening our heart, of accepting in, of saying yes, yes to guidance, yes to support, where we begin that process and just get that, I'll call it engine going. That's a daily thing. And incidentally, our 21-day practice will bring you into all of these things too. Then, yeah, then you've pulled the crank and you've started the engine. Then this thing gets started. And that transactional stuff, that drudgery stuff, that victimhood, all of that kind of stuff melts away. Challenges are still there, but the being state from which we see and address the challenges is entirely different. So I would say, oh boy, don't walk, run, run into these things. Because as we know in humanities team, we're all on this journey ourselves. It creates this beautiful, delicious way of living.
Mm. Yeah, and something that's coming to me is that, you can make a difference because of that interconnectedness and that oneness. When we start becoming more conscious and aware, it has a ripple effect in our families. And they might not even be doing the practices, but they may start to change. Just watch. Don't be surprised if your world starts to change for the better once you start doing these practices. Watch out.
True statement.
Yeah, it's incredible, and even like when you were talking about people honking at you, when I have people honking at me, it feels very gentle. It doesn't feel aggressive. It just feels like, hey, you need to go now. Whereas before it would probably annoy me. And yeah. So let's talk about some of the thought leaders we have on the Stream Plus platform. And so, in your work with these leaders, such as Neil Donald Walsh, the co founder of Humanities Team, Greg Braden, and Dr. Bruce Lipton, you've talked about them before. You've explored how our individual consciousness shapes the collective. What role does humanities collective consciousness play in healing the earth?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So now we're segueing or bridging over to the collective side because to this point, Carissa, you and I have been more talking about the inner transformation. This that it all starts within. That there needs to be that there is a transformation that occurs, and then there's this new thing happening in our own life. Okay, and now you're bringing it back to well in the collective. So what are these leaders bringing in? What are they offering? What are they suggesting? And uh, and here's the beautiful thing is when we live this way, the way we've been discussing with our conscious practices, with our rituals and things, a holistic way of living, um, we just flat out, as you've used the term, ripples in the world, right? So just like you throw a pebble in the water and there are these ripples that come out. We are that pebble that we throw out into the water. There is now this ripple effect out that people can't help around us but feel this, I'm going to call it goodness, this expression which brings in divine feminine, this expression which is truthful but also loving. So, um, and of course, what these leaders that you mentioned and other leaders in humanities team, what we're all about is first just pulling the crank, turning our own engine on it, getting that transformation going, living this delicious life, or Joseph Campbell called it the ecstatic life, where he said the universe becomes where there were walls. Now there's this cool, fast breeze. This is what happens. And when 8 to 10% of us then start living this way, where we're all throwing those ripples out into the world, where we now are embodiments of it, expressions of it. Not perfect, by the way, or even excellent all the time. Boy, let me just stop on that. Is we don't want to be thinking in terms of, oh, we're walking on water here and everything is just a nirvana thing. It's not like that. And I also think that we push things away if we, in our mind's eye, believe or that we're walking toward a perfection or an excellence, because it doesn't allow ourselves to just simply be. We're too leashed with this, where we've put some framework of perfection or a framework of excellence around it. That's not needed, and it's like a leash. So we want to unleash ourselves to just the best of my ability is here. Just that. That's good. That is good enough. I am here in the best of my ability, where we're really showing up that way, and where we're deepening into these practices, which we would do anyway for the ecstatic life, delicious life, etc. But as more and more people start throwing those pebbles in the pond, which is what these leaders are about and humanities team is about, boy, the day comes, you get to that 8 to 10%, and the whole earth starts, you know, this whole transformation thing happens. This caterpillar to butterfly thing happens. Whoa, there's wings kind of happening around me, right? And that's what they're about. That's what Humanities Team is about. As you know, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, 22 years old now, so a pretty mature nonprofit. And the particular download we got years ago was make conscious living prevalent worldwide by 2040, which is in 15 years. In just 15 years, a tipping point. That doesn't mean ubiquitous in 15 years, but it means a tipping point in 15 years. That's 800 million people if we're going to use the 10%. That's a big number. How will that happen? Well, we're an educational nonprofit. We have the largest streaming platform right now for consciousness raising, master classes, and transformational education. We have Global Oneness Day, live events like this. We've got a 21-day challenge going on right now. We've got Sacred Awakening Live in Colorado here in about 3 weeks, May 8 to May 10. All of these different kinds of things. They're supporting people in just the inner transformation. And then this collective thing that you were asking about, it just naturally happens. We don't have to put our mind to it. We just are as we go out into the world, in our homes and workplaces and in the world as conscious people. We are that. We just are. We're throwing pebbles in the pond every moment and every day, all together. And people are paying attention. This is not reported in the news, but I would say to viewers, as you consider your own life, if for the last 1 year and then the last 3 years, the last 5 years and 10 years, haven't you observed just a lot more of this going on in your life and around you? Because we certainly have. And this is how Humanities Team has grown, is where people are saying, this is important. I love what it's doing for me. And man, is this important out in the world. This is where we started this program of Earth Day 2025. This is a really important and even urgent moment now, Earth Day 2025.
Yes, yes, I feel the same way. So, how can people begin integrating conscious habits into their relationships, workplaces, and communities?
So conscious practices. Here, why don't we do something just
You want to do
amongst
one?
us?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do one here.
I'm so
So
glad you suggested that.
yeah. And I created, so just as people will come to know here about middle of May, I actually created a whole new masterclass, which you'll hear about in weeks ahead. It's called Higher Self, Higher Purpose, Unleashing the Power Within. And the biggest module in there is the module that are my daily practices, my conscious practices. I got a whole bunch of them and I put them all in there, which is why it's the longest module in there. And so one of them, which is, I'll call it my staple, there's several staples in here, but it's metaphysical. Okay. It's visioning. And you came from Agape there, Chris.
Yes, I'm familiar with the visioning
But
process.
they have a visioning process. I'm not sure. I haven't compared this to Michael's visioning. This is just
Yeah.
an organic thing I did myself, but
Mhm.
it's metaphysical. So in metaphysical, what we're doing is just, I've referenced now Omega Point, right? Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. I've referenced Nassim Haramein, Sovereign to the Universe. I could reference Neil Donald Walsh in Conversations with God. We are all one. So this is a grand convergence here. This is saying that there is no separation between creator and created. Whoa, is saying then the divine is actually within and there is no separation ever. So in this grand convergence, this omega point, what we're going to see and what will be created is where we're awake and embodying and expressing this beautiful oneness with a loving expression. I'll just use that term. So my staple thing, one of them in the morning and in the evening and often throughout my day, is I'll go out and I'll just spend a little time. Let's do this right now. We're going to just close our eyes. Okay, we're going to go into the grand convergence here on Earth. So we can feel right now as you close your eyes, we're on this beautiful Earth. We can see the beauty of the whole Earth, this planet that we live on. And with 8 billion people living on it, and all of these life forms, yes, 8 billion humans, but all these other life forms too. And now we're seeing the grand convergence. Okay, feel that happening, see it, where there's this healing, this health and well-being. The divine feminine is integrated beautifully, and I'll even say perfectly, where there's this grace and blessing and peace, this unity, oneness, abundance, and blessing, where we're just seeing this all stirred into this planet, where humanity and nature, wherever we go on the planet, in the Americas, in Europe, in Asia, in Oceania, uh, in the African continent, everywhere, with all of the brilliant, beautiful colors of people in the earth, there's this healing, health, and well-being, this unity, blessing, grace, and peace. I'd use the term intimacy, where there's this intimacy that is just stunning of people and nature in the daylight and at night. Okay, see that, feel that, taste that, touch that. Okay, all of our senses, bring all of your senses to it. That it's here now. Everything's created twice, right? We're creating it the first time here, metaphysically. We're visioning into it. It is being created now. The grand convergence was not a fiction. It was real. It's now done. It is done. The omega point has happened. The grand convergence is here now. Feel that. Feel the fullness of that. And it's real. This has been said so many times down through time. It's real. We've felt it. It's done. And take some breaths. And you can open your eyes. And now for the rest of your day, in the way you're going to be at your office and in your home, just embody that, what you tasted and touched. Embody that. Express what you felt. Try and bring this to life now physically throughout your day. Okay, and this metaphysical visioning thing, everything is created twice. So we're creating it now for the first time, and then maybe we'll be alive, or maybe it's our kids, but our kids, this will be then experienced for its second time in reality. This will happen to the planet. And go back to what we were talking about a little earlier, where Carissa was saying, what do I think is going to happen? And I said, we're not going to fall off a cliff. We're not. This is where it's going. The omega point. Okay. And we just experienced it together.
Yeah, beautiful. I wanted to share what vision came to me, if that's okay.
Please. Yeah. Thank you, Carissa.
Um, I saw all of humanity holding hands in this beautiful spiral around Earth and a deep understanding of one another. Uh,
Mm.
so that was an interesting feeling of love
Oh, that's
for
beautiful,
all. Yeah.
Carissa. That is beautiful. And I know we've done meditations together over time, and you do have these beautiful, beautiful uh, sensations that you'll share. That is stunning.
Thank you. Well, thank you for that process. I loved it. And what a great way to end our program today. And I'm so excited about your new masterclass, Higher Self, Higher Purpose, Unlocking the Power Within. I mean, can you imagine if all of humanity takes this course and feels empowered and inspired to live consciously. So, just thank you for your powerful insights today. And I wanted to, before we close, talk briefly about Humanity Stream Plus, because what we've discussed here today is just the beginning. So, in the face of economic adversity, embracing conscious living becomes even more vital. So, if you feel moved by today's conversation, if this is something that's calling you for more in your life, we invite you to explore Humanity Stream Plus and join this beautiful, growing global family. And also our 21-day conscious living challenge that starts today. So click on the link. We'll put it in the chat, humanitystream.net/challenge. And it's just such a timely offering right now on Earth Day when we're being invited to live a more aligned with who we truly are in harmony with the planet. So, did you have any last thoughts, Steve, before we end today?
Yeah, I just want to say again, happy Earth Day to all of you viewers, to you, Carissa. Thank you for being with us here for the hour. Um, just such a sacred day and such an important and even urgent moment. And you're watching this program because you yourself are conscious. You're on this journey. And let's do this together. Let's do the 21-day challenge. If it speaks to you, join us. If you're looking at the Sacred Awakening Live, May 8 to May 10 here in Colorado, join us. There's also live streams. So you can join us on live stream. Global Oneness Day that's out ahead of us, this new masterclass, and there's a free program preceding it. Join us. So we've just created this together. We've got this beautiful team and beautiful environment, and have created all these ways that we can live consciously. And we are totally devoted to this tipping point thing. Okay. And, where we're all just making these ripples happen out in the pond, right? So let's do this together.
Yes. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for Awaken to Earth's Call, Conscious Living for a Thriving Future. And may we walk forward together in unity and in reverence for this sacred planet. Happy Earth Day, everyone.
Happy Earth Day. Amen and amen. Thank you.